All right, moving on to a story that's out of this world, and that's literally. On November 18th, the U.S. Space Agency NASA launched its new MAVEN Mars satellite. It will be the first spacecraft to investigate the red planet's upper atmosphere and climate.
After a 10-month flight, MAVEN will begin its year-long mission in low orbit around Mars. VOA Urdu Service reporter Abdul Aziz Khan went to Cape Canaveral, Florida for the launch of MAVEN and talked about it with On Assignment's Philip Alexiou.
Aziz, NASA's launched another spacecraft heading to Mars. So tell us basically what its mission is all about.
Philip, MAVEN stands for Mars Atmosphere Volatile Evolution Mission. And basically the objective of this space flight is to send a robotic spaceship in the atmosphere of Mars and try to figure out how Mars lost its water. Because we know from previous missions that there was a time when Mars had an atmosphere similar to ours. It had an ocean, it had clouds, and then something happened in these last 4 billion years that it has become this dead planet. So one of the greatest mysteries associated with Mars was where did the atmosphere go, and that is why the MAVEN mission has been launched.
Now, there have been a good number of satellites that have been launched to Mars. There's something like 20 of them over the past several decades, but this particular one does other things, right?
Absolutely. Well, in terms of sending a spaceship to Mars, MAVEN is not attempting to do anything different. So in that regard, it's not different. But what we have to realize is that the previous missions were basically sent to raise questions. Okay. And this is one mission that has been designed from the ground up to provide answers. Yes, okay. And in order to do that, they have a series of sensors which would be documenting data on such minuscule level that by the time all this data comes back, we are hoping that we would have answers to a lot of questions. So in that regards, it's a very important mission. Then it has 3 different sensor packages, and a lot of these are designed by the University of Colorado. And each sensor would have a team of scientists that would be decoding the mission data. So purely from a scientific point of view, hopes are obviously very high as far as this mission is concerned. And I mean, it's interesting that in the next 10 or 11 months, we could have a lot of information that could totally change the way we have been seeing Mars.
Was this the first time you've seen a rocket launch?
Yes.
Well, tell me what it is like. What do you experience? You just can't get it on, watching a video.
Philip, it was so different than what I had imagined it to be all my life. Because I was thinking I was part of the media and I would be able to see the spaceship up close, right? But they took us on these buses and they put us on this island from where there was this huge ocean between us and the spaceship, and nobody was allowed to go any closer. And I was thinking, hey, I can barely see the spaceship. So I asked them, why is it that we are not allowed to go any closer? And I was told that you will not be able to withstand the sound of the jet wash. And it did not make any sense to me because the spaceship was so tiny. But when the spaceship took off, and as it moved farther and farther up, there was a point when we were directly under the jet wash radius. And I could literally feel the ground shake under me. So at that point, everything started to make sense why people are not allowed to view these spectacles from a closer proximity.
Now tell me that this launch, it was possible that it might not have happened in an unusual fashion.
Yes.
What's the story behind that?
The US government was undergoing a shutdown, and the mission date had been planned years and years in advance, because in order for the spaceship to actually reach Mars, Earth and Mars have to be at a specific distance. And the opportunity window is like 20 days. Now, is it true that the government shutdown could have killed this mission?
Oh, yes, we were very concerned about the government shutdown. And if we had missed this, this several-week window, we would have to wait about 2 years. And that actually would have cost a couple $100 million to put our spacecraft in cold storage. So that would not have been good.
So they had to work on double shifts to basically make that launch. And they did make that launch, but it was a very crucial mission. And sitting at home for 2.5 days was extremely frustrating for these guys.
Well, thank goodness it didn't happen and you got to go see it. Good for you.
Thank you so much.
All right, Aziz Khan from UrduVOA.com.